Hey y'all. Hi. Sitting cross-legged in my chair today. It's really making me feel spry. So, I am not a fashion insider. I do not watch all of the runway shows every time and do my own synthesis based on decades of knowledge. I do not have an overarching sense of what is going on in the, it must be said, extremely insular and specific art world of fashion. But I do have an overarching sense of what it's like to be a normal person who loves clothes and has a sense of what might be going on in the part of the fashion world where the signals from that tiny space kind of get projected out and watered down, but also kind of turn into what they practically are going to end up meaning for the most of us. So when I talk about it, I read the syntheses of others. In this case, an article on harpersbazaar.com, and I react to the big picture from a place of being a person who wears clothes in the world, a normal person, a relatively normal person. Let's just say a person. I love filming these videos. I hope you enjoy this one. Let us now get into the meat of the video. The time has come, the walrus said, for me to finally tell you about these rings. So many of you have been asking about these in the comments, but I couldn't tell you before now because they were for this sponsorship. But wow, you noticed as soon as I started wearing them, and I don't blame you because they are perfect. These rings are from Linjer, who's sponsoring part of today's video. This one, which I'm obsessed with, is 14 karat solid gold with a real lab diamond. I haven't taken this off since I got it. You know, I love solid gold jewelry because I love being able to wear it all the time. When I sleep, when I shower, when I cook. I can't believe how sparkly this little diamond is. It's such a simple, elegant, understated design, but this diamond catches the light like crazy and throws those rainbow sparkles all the time. I love it. This one, the one all of you were asking about, is a mother of pearl ring in gold vermeil, which means it has a sterling silver base covered with a super thick layer of 22 karat gold. It's 5 times thicker than regular gold-plated jewelry. If solid gold is out of your budget, gold vermeil of this quality is the next best thing. The thing I love about both of these that I didn't know until I saw them in person has to do with the design details. I don't know how best to explain this. On each of these rings, the band that goes around the finger is round all the way around rather than being flattened against the finger, and the shaping of the bezel settings is just really clean and fresh. They read really modern. Linjer is a Norwegian word that means lines, and it's a reference to these simple, minimal designs. And I knew that, but when these arrived and I put them on for the first time, I was like, oh, these pieces feel really luxurious to me. They feel well worth their prices to me. And that has partly to do with the quality of the materials, but it also has to do with the level of design. Clicking through the link at the top of the description box below will take you directly to the listings for these 2 rings, so you can learn more about these pieces in particular. And you'll also get a special offer with my discount code, Hannah Louise Poston. So thanks, Linjer, for sponsoring. I am delighted to have connected with this brand and really glad to be able to tell you how lovely these pieces are in person. Okay, let us discuss the 16 top trends from the spring 2025 runways, according to Harper's Bazaar. So there were just runways. That's why this is happening. That's why this article's up. That's why I'm filming this. I guess it's the spring runways. It's the first runway shows of 2025. I feel like it's a new year. Let's see what's going to be going on this year. I know that the fashion calendar runs on like the season. They're talking about spring with these runways. But to me, it's like, this is the beginning of the year. What's it going to be about? Up first, the utility of glamour. Designers had a party this season where opposites attracted, updating glamorous looks with modern utility jackets for the best of both worlds. Basically talking about wearing a sequined dress with like a parka on top of it. And in some cases, a sequined parka with some weird bicycle shorts, but I feel like that's much less accessible. That's a little bit more like, wow, look what we can do on the runway, mwahaha. However, sequined dress with a parka on top of it, anything that's conspicuously evening wear, I think, conspicuously glamorous with a super utilitarian jacket of some kind on top of it would be ringing the bell of this trend. I think I like it. My first visceral instinct was to say that if I were to wear this, it would be hard for me to get myself to the headspace of it being fashion. It would be hard for me to shake myself out of the like, this looks a little bit wrong. Like I just threw on a jacket over this glamorous outfit. It looks a little bit like I couldn't quite get it together to find a jacket that would go better with what I'm wearing to the event I'm attending. But I think that edge is clearly what the designers are playing with. I actually think I could leap the gap, especially if I lived like in a bigger city, if I was going somewhere, I was really going to an event. For example, if I was visiting New York, I could totally see myself wearing a sequined blouse or like I have something like that, like a sequined blouse or a sequined dress, and then putting a parka over it, sitting on the subway like to go where I was going and really feeling like I was nailing it. Like this is the now, and I really know what's going on in fashion. And I think that I would feel very comfortable doing that because I feel comfortable in my sequin garments, and I also feel comfortable in a parka, and putting them together and leaning into that. I could push through that initial feeling of discomfort quite quickly, and I could arrive at this place. So I'm going to say it's a yes. And the other reason that it is a really passionate yes for me is that you can do this with what you already own. This is a trend that's about styling rather than being about needing to make a purchase of something incredibly specific. And those tend to be the kinds of trends that I feel are the most inspired. And this one, in fact, is kind of saying just wear what you have. You know what I mean? You don't need something other than your parka, even if you're going to the gala. That's kind of what this is saying. I frankly love it. Okay, I went from not being sure to being like, it's my favorite. I haven't looked at any of the others yet, but it's my favorite. Up next, one leg in, one leg out. My friends, what are we doing? What is this? I'm not even going to touch on the Angelina Jolie meme. Okay, I'm not even going to touch on the fact that this literally was already years ago in another lifetime silly enough to be a meme, even though she was on the red carpet. And that's frankly the one place that it kind of makes even a modicum of sense to have one leg fully out and the other leg in. And even when Angelina Jolie did it there, she was mocked. Everything about this is the opposite of the other trend. You'd need to go out and buy it, by which I mean to get a garment that's constructed intentionally to have a full pant leg and then the other leg completely out. You'd have to go buy something now because nobody's made this before. Because why? So you would have to be buying like a very expensive runway piece now and then being like, oh, I am a fashion insider. I have this garment. I have one leg out. However, to do this, you wouldn't need to do that. You just need to cut off one of your pant legs, which if you'd like to do that, more power to you. Please post it on Instagram and tag me. Imperfect hemlines and non-traditional trousers made their way down the runways in every city, with models half-dressed in full looks of one-legged pants. It seems like a joke. I don't even think that I need to say that I don't like this because no one is going to take this seriously. Up next, ornate ornaments. What other kinds of ornaments are there? Harper's Bazaar editor Nicole isn't an ornament by definition. Ornate? I guess you could have a really simple ornament, like a minimalist ornament, but isn't it still ornate in its own way by being an ornament? From brocade jackets to jeweled tops and dresses, designers leaned into a more is more approach for the ultimate glamorous statement. Yeah, if you don't have anything ornate, then you would need to make a purchase to evoke this trend. But I feel kind of like I did about the first one, that more than that, in practical terms, in actual application in our lives, more than it is a summons to make a purchase, it is a license to wear whatever you might happen to already own that is on the more ornate side. And that side of it is the side of this trend that I appreciate the most. Especially if you are already kind of maximalist, this is the kind of thing you already like, you probably already have it. It makes sense to wear it to dinner instead of saving it for a formal occasion. I love that. And if you don't own anything like this and you don't want to wear ornate things, then this trend is probably just a pass for you. So I'm fine with it. I'm not obsessed with it, but it's also not that nuanced of a trend. Just like jewel encrusted. I mean, that's been happening all the time. Since time immemorial, it's been happening somewhere in the world. It's always happening. Next up, very demure. Very demure. Bow tie blouses, Peter Pan collars, pleated skirts, and the perfect car coats appeared in slightly subverted versions. So I kind of don't like it, except for the part where its slightly subverted versions. If we're subverting it, meaning we're kind of poking fun at the buttoned upness of it all, we're kind of poking fun at demurity, which is what Jules was doing. If this is indeed the runway version of Jules LeBron's TikTok monologues, like very demure, very mindful, but with a wink wink and a nudge nudge, I can't not like that. I can't push back against that because all I've ever wanted was for the vision and the brilliant genius of Jules LeBron to live on forever in the zeitgeist in every way. So if it's made it into the zeitgeist this far, I mean, we live for it. However, in practice, I think it's difficult to subvert a thing like this in practice for the rest of us, right? If you wear a Peter Pan collar, it doesn't really matter how many buttons are on the blouse or what kind of shoes you're wearing. Like if you're not on the runway, you're just still wearing a Peter Pan collar. And for me, it kind of makes a girl out of me. It's a little simpering on me. This is a kind of trend, the delicate balance of messing with these classic shapes. It makes sense as an artistic statement on the runways, but might not translate as well to every day. So I can just leave it there, I feel. Hello, Moto. First place went to sporty daywear that ran down the runways throughout collections in every city. I'm not necessarily against sporty daywear, but I would argue that what we're actually seeing in these images is like extremely referential motorcycle and racing labeled garb. Like this isn't just sporty. It's not sporty daywear. It's like her shirt looks like a race car driver's shirt. The entire dress looks like it's made out of a parachute. It's just sporty daywear is really an understatement. And I feel that this belongs in a very specific closet in a very specific setting. It's taking the theme a little bit too far for me. And even if it wasn't, even if it was just a little bit of like a racing stripe on the sleeve, it's fine, right? It'll be fine for some people. I'm just not that into it myself. I feel maybe it doesn't suit my lifestyle. Here's what's happening in my head, really, on the next level down that I wasn't going to say out loud. My first weird reaction to this is like, well, but if you're not a race car driver, like I don't want to wear a jacket that looks kind of like a racing jacket with racing stripes on the side when I'm just not racing anywhere. Like it's just not even rubbing elbows with what I'm actually doing. It seems so much like posing, you know, like that. It just doesn't sit right for me. But then I had the devil's advocate pop up in my own head that was like, well, what about the dance inspired, like ballerina necklines, ballerina flats, like dance inspired clothing? I mean, I was a tango dancer for every day for years and years for a lot of my life, but like ballet specifically, the ballerina and ballet inspired necklines and stuff, I don't feel weird about borrowing from that sport, you know? I can't say that that objection is complete enough on its own to make sense. I think it probably has to do not only with the feeling of borrowing, but also with the sport from which it's borrowing. Because dance, ballet doesn't feel totally out of reach for me or totally disconnected from who I am as a person, whereas motorcycle riding kind of does. And if you feel like you're not a dancer, but you are a motorcycle rider, then this kind of sporty daywear might suit you. Let's move on. Oh, we were just talking about it. Cuckoo for Tutus. Tutus danced through the collections as the new mini of the season by way of skirts and peplums in precious fabrics from classic tulle to bubbled silks. I'm probably not going to buy and wear one of these, and I don't have anything like this, so I can't shop my closet for this trend. That puts a little distance between it and me. But from a distance, I can admire it. I quite like it. I like the idea of a tutu being the mini of the season. I like the fun that is. I'm for it. Not in a personal way, but I'm for it. Bloom time. Why is this on here when florals for spring groundbreaking is, speaking again of like a meme that has embedded itself all the way into the bedrock of society? How can anyone take this as a trend on the list? How can anyone take it seriously? Florals for spring is one of the things we noticed on the spring runways. Groundbreaking. So glad you pointed that out, Nicole. The runways were blooming with bouquets of prints on every style of dress, from light florals to a mix-matched garden party of patterns. I just don't think that this is noteworthy. Has a spring gone by when we didn't see florals on the runway? Maybe. And I just don't know because I'm not vastly knowledgeable about runway shows from month to month. But I think we could have just skipped over this. I think we can just skip this one. Of course, we're going to see florals. Even if they weren't on the runways, we'd still be seeing them in the shops. And you definitely maybe have them in your closet if you wear florals. Okay, here is something into which we can sink our teeth. Dresses over pants. I feel like this has been coming for us for a while. I've seen it here, I've seen it there, and now apparently we're about to see it everywhere. I feel like my feelings have changed, sort of. So my initial feeling was like, I wish that that would feel cool because it would be so convenient. It would be so convenient to be able to put a dress over pants and be like, this is a good look and I feel great and I feel really chic. And now, because I have pants, and you know what else I have? Dresses. And sometimes it's hard to style the hemline of the dress with the shoes you're wearing. You know what I mean? It's like, I have some shoes I would like to wear with my dresses, but I don't know how to bridge the gap. I don't really have a lot of socks. I don't want to wear tights. When I wear a dress, it sort of narrows my shoe options. But if I could put on pants underneath that dress, and then I could wear the shoes that go with the pants, wow, the world would honestly be my oyster. Every time I've seen this up until now, this moment sitting here before you, I've been like, it just feels like too much of a reach. Like it's trying too hard. It was cool for a hot second in the 90s, and it feels like a little bit too much of a throwback to that. Can we execute it in a way that feels fresh? Maybe though, because look at these. Look at the way these are done. When it's layered with like this, especially the ones that are layered with the same color, multiple textures, feels very artistic, feels very, what's that Scandinavian word? Lagenlook? Is that right? I do know something about fashion. Lagenlook is a German word that translates to layered look. It's a European fashion style that involves wearing multiple layers of clothing to create a unique look. So I feel like when I've seen this before pretty recently, it's been like a slip dress over jeans. And that to me is way too 90s. It feels really dated. It feels like we tried it then and it didn't work, and now we're trying it again and it's still not working. These images of the recent runways, these look more Lagenlook to me, right? This looks more like I'm feeling my oats as a European fashion-inspired middle-aged woman and I'm an artist. That's how this feels to me. And that I can do. Right? I can get into that gig. Like, look at this one-shouldered dress over pants and such. And so it's like a mini dress, but it looks almost like a romper. I mean, I would wear this. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try this with some stuff I already have and see how it feels. And it's going to be a big leap for me because there is this voice inside that has already rejected this trend out of hand. Boudoir Lace, we've seen it before. We liked it then. We're seeing it again. We like it now. Bright colors. It seems lace in bright colors, what we're seeing. You know, I love something sheer. I personally have moved away from lace specifically. I think it's because back when I designed tango clothing as my job, back when I had this little business making handmade, one-of-a-kind pieces for social dancers of Argentine tango, I used a lot of stretch lace. I was really into it then. I was really into this kind of styling then, and that's a really great fabric for dance. And so it sort of played out for me and on my personal fashion timeline, but that doesn't mean that I look at this and I'm like, it looks bad. I'm not going to be like leaning hard into the colorful lace. It's fine. Soft dressing. I love it. Soft dressing. This is my favorite one so far. And these three pictures that we're seeing are the three that I would most like to wear, I think, probably. Well, maybe the one in the middle, the brown asymmetrical one with all the legs and stomach and shoulders. If you replace that with the black dress over pants that we saw, then those would be the three that I would most like to personally wear. High-low achieved new heights with forward-facing hemlines with an ever-flowing train in the back. Well, now she's saying this is about high-low hemlines, but it's called soft dressing. It's like a gross advertisement for dressing, salad dressing. I'm gonna start a new salad dressing, a risque salad dressing brand called soft dressing. The high-low hemlines, once again, that's something that I used to do a lot when I designed clothes for tango dancers. High-low is a great hemline for tango, so that also feels a little bit played out on my personal timeline. To me, that's not what these images are about, even though they do have high-low hemlines. To me, it's about all of this soft flowing fabric, this balance between excess and restraint, which I guess high-low hemline also strikes, you know? I love seeing that though. I love seeing tons of voluminous fabric billowing out from the figure. Oh no, polka dots mark the spot. This seems like a hoax. I feel like Nicole put this in to see if we're paying attention. Even these images look like they were not sourced from recent runways. They look like they were grabbed from something from like the early 2000s maybe. I don't really like polka dots. I never really have. It's not even something that's part of my personal fashion timeline that's played out. It's like, this is very personal though, because I think they can look great on other people. And I think there's a time and a place. For me, it's not now. I don't love to see it. Dots were the new neutral when it came to prints, appearing in both head to toe looks and layering pieces. Let's look on the bright side. If there are going to be polka dots everywhere like this, then there will be a lot of things that I don't want to buy. And that'll be great. I'll save my coin. For the frill of it, it's fine. I like ruffles. I like texture and I like volume. So I like this way better than the polka dots. But none of these actual images are calling to me. I'm probably not gonna be wearing this. Maybe if I was going to an event and I need to like buy a gown, maybe I'd pick one that has volume created by ruffles. It's not really hitting, it's not innovating. It's just like sometimes ruffles and frills and volume, sometimes it's out, sometimes it's in. It's been in for a while, it seems like, and it's still in, and that's fine. But it's not giving me anything. It's not like, you know, it's not making me want to try it. It's not making me want to buy it even, which I guess is good. It's fine. I feel the same way about plaid, power plaid, all of these last few. Yeah, all of these. Okay, so the last few, let's look at them all together. We have polka dots, frills, plaid, sheer stuff, which I love. Every time this comes up, I'm like, I love sheer. I love how it's sexy without being too revealing. If I could, actually, this is sort of already true. I was gonna say I would wear, actually it's not true. What am I talking about? If I could, I would wear only sheer clothes. I would like all my clothes to be somewhat sheer. And then I said that that was already kind of true, which just isn't true. I have a lot of clothes that aren't sheer, but I do wear something a little bit sheer almost every day. I mean, even the sweater I'm wearing. Do you see this? This is my bra, straight from the runways. Hannah Louise posted. I love sheer. Sailor stripes, I feel the same way I do about polka dots. And fringe, I kind of feel the same way I do about polka dots. This is also a lot. Are any of these really trending? If they all are, we're seeing polka dots, sailor stripes, frills, fringe, and sheer stuff all on the runway. It's like everything's happening all at once. And plaid, right? Every print everywhere all at once. And so can we really call them trends, or is it just like prints? Classic graphic prints. I would just have grouped it into one. If they had asked me instead of Nicole, I would have grouped it into one. I would have grouped polka dots, sailor stripes, and plaid all into one, and I would have called it like classic graphic. That's what I would have called it. Classic graphic. I don't like it. I wish all of that would go away. I feel like there are going to be a lot of lackluster clothing pieces that are made trying to emulate the appearance of those prints on the runway, and that people are going to kind of get sucked in and buy them and then look bad and regret it. Frills, though, ruffles and frills, sheer stuff, definitely sheer ruffles and sheer frills. They can stay. I'm here for that. I feel like that's timeless and very exciting to me still. And then fringe, it just kind of depends on the execution. I feel like I can take it or leave it. That does it for today, my friends. Which of these trends excites you the most? Which of them is already in your closet? I think for me, it's a parka over formal wear or over like glamorous, you know, sequins, paillettes, that kind of thing. That way of combining high and low. And the dress over the pants. That's the one that's provoking me. I am provoked. I've been provoked by the dresses over pants trend. I feel like we've really crossed the threshold here today with that trend, because previously I was really rejecting it. And now I feel like trying it now. I feel like rushing off and saying goodbye to you and rushing away to my closet and trying it. One of these days I'll film a video where I'm trying trends, like recent runway trends that have provoked me. I'll try to get that together soon. The house is still a mess, y'all. It is such a challenge. It's such an uphill battle to get settled in a new house if you move when you have a toddler. That's the last thing I want to say to you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for spending this time with me. And I really hope that you are taking extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.